Welcome back to the channel. Hobby-Wan Canopy here. Well, it's time to continue the Mi-24 Hind gunship by ZVEZDA. With most of the cockpit done, it's time to get the fuselage halves ready to receive both the engine and cabin. First, I begin by filling the pin marks. For this, I like to use CA glue and some accelerator like Zip Kicker. Then I use sanding sticks to level them off. I now attach the engine access hatches, since I decided not to show the engine on this model. Though I have to say that the details provided for the kit do make a nice representation of the engine. The interior of the cabin has been painted with a mixture of Tamiya paints, and after receiving a few coats of Mission Models gloss, it is ready for a dark oil wash. The oils are allowed to dry, then removed with a Q-tip and an old soft brush, leaving a small percentage of the oils left in the crevices to depict shadows. Do be careful to allow the rotor engine to lean slightly to the starboard side of the helicopter. The rotor on this vehicle should lean about 2 degrees to the right. Once the wash was removed, the parts received a few coats of clear flat, and the sub-assemblies were placed on one fuselage half. Once all of the sub-assemblies are in place, it's time to close the two halves. I applied thin CA with a glue looper to allow the product to run along the seam. I also ran some Tamiya extra thin, in the hopes that if the CA didn't reach every spot, the extra thin would take care of it. At this point, it became apparent that the detail work in the cabin, including some carefully scratch-built seatbelts for the crew, would in fact not be visible, even through the 8 windows. Next, I decided to fill a few seams around the fuselage. These were filled with Vallejo plastic putty. A toothpick was used to get the putty into the seam. The excess was quickly and easily removed with a moistened Q-tip. Once the fuselage halves were together, I started to add clamps on access panels, reshaped the nose, and used an X-Acto knife to drill out holes for the nose gun. Next, I purchased some sets of rivet decals from Quinta, Mike Grant, and Archer. The Quinta rivets were my favorite. They slid off the backing paper with ease and laid down nicely. A little decal setting solution was used to get them to adhere to the surface. The Archer decals required an extra step of using Mr. Color Thinner to remove a layer of film. This didn't really bother me, but I did notice that I had to brush extremely gently, otherwise the rivets would start to come off one at a time. The Mike Grant decals were good, however, they were really panels that had rivets punched into them, making them appropriate really for only specific panels. I got a few of these sets, and I look forward to using them again on future builds when needed. Next, it was time to apply pre-cut masks from ResKit. I love sets like these because they also offer masks for the inside of the clear parts, not just the outside. I am a big fan of painting the inside color of canopies, so this makes my work go much faster. These fit beautifully, and given the many curves of this two-seater bubble canopy, they were worth every penny of the $10 I spent on them. Before adding the canopy to the model, I needed to add a few more details to the cockpit. Thin CA glue was used to glue the canopy to the model. I find that once the clear plastic is masked, CA hazing doesn't actually occur. Once the full model was well masked, I found I wanted to still scratch build the grab handles found near the roof of the helicopter. These were made by clipping a small piece of plastic rod. Then, using pliers, I smashed the ends to create the correct shape of the attachment points. Tamiya Extra Thin was used to meld pieces to the model. Finally, the model received coats of Tamiya Gray primer. Well, that does it for this video. If you enjoyed this content, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.